Hi, everyone. My name is Herb Monsiváis. I'm with America's Chamber for Business, the chamber without boundaries, and all about inclusion, diversity, and about business success. Today, we are honored to have Nancy Alvarez from the SBA, and Nancy is our go-to person when we need good information about the SBA. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hello, Herb. Happy to be here. It's such an honor to be able to share with your membership the information SBA has to offer, or the most recent, right? Because it changes quite often. So happy to be here.
Thank you, and it's our honor to have you here because as we've known you for a few years, you are terrific at giving us the proper information. Nancy, some of our members are asking, uh, how 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 do they comply with the low forgiveness on the disaster and PPP loans and all that? What could you advise them?
So Herb, that's a very good question. Borrowers may be eligible for the loan forgiveness if the funds were used for eligible payroll costs, payrolls or payments of business mortgage interest, rent, utilities during the 8 to the 24 period after the disbursement. This is really important because a lot of people are confused. Do I qualify, or do I have to demonstrate that I use it before the loan or after? And so the period is 8 to 24 weeks after the loan was dispersed. And so a borrower can apply for forgiveness once it has used all the loan proceeds that they receive from the PPP or the EIDL. They can then apply for the forgiveness. Now, borrowers that are applying for forgiveness need to make sure that they apply before the maturity of the loan ends. Okay, that's another important thing. At the latest, they can apply for loan forgiveness even 10 months prior to the maturity of the loan. So again, just highlighting this because this is really important. You're going to have 10 months there prior to your loan maturity that you can apply. What happens if you don't apply? Your loan maturity comes around the date. If you miss that period, you won't be able to apply for forgiveness. This is very important. The other thing that I was sharing with Herb that is very important is I want you to understand that loan forgiveness is not separate. In other words, we don't have a loan forgiveness for PPP and a loan forgiveness for EIDL. It's just one loan forgiveness. Under the EIDL, if you applied for EIDL and you got an advancement, that advancement was a grant. In other words, kind of the loan forgiveness portion. So if you received the two of them, when you go to apply for your forgiveness under the PPP, they will subtract the money that you already got from SBA as a grant. They will deduct that from your PPP forgiveness loan, that portion of the loan that you're applying under the PPP for forgiveness. So just wanted to make sure that everybody understood the difference.
Very good to know. I'm glad. This is a few things that I think they need to know, and I appreciate it. So, uh, I'm looking at question number 2, but I think we just answered it. So thank you. That was terrific. So it is, but if you get a disaster loan, that's different than the PPP loan, right?
That is correct. It is different. The other question too, Herb, that people are asking a lot is how do I return the money then? And I think one of your clients or your members had that question as well. And
Correct.
so in order to find out if you want to return the funds, you have not used those funds and you want to return them, you can go to www.pay.gov. This is something that if you got the grant, you don't want to return your grant money, right? Because that was grant money. As long as you used it for your business, you can keep that. You don't have to repay that. But what's important here is for you to understand that if you're going to repay back the loan and your loan was in deferment, there is an interest portion of that loan that you're going to have to pay because it did accrue interest. So you'll have to pay that in addition to the loan amount. So once you do that on that website, you can request your total loan payment, and then you'll know exactly the amount you're gonna have to repay. However, if you did get a loan, a grant under the EIDL, and you still wanna return it, you can do so as well. But for that, you're gonna have to call the SBA office at 1-800-629 or 659. I'll get you the number by the end of the meeting, the interview. I'll get the 800 number. It's the disaster office, an 800 number, so that they can give you the proper instructions on how to return the grant portion of the EIDL, okay? Just wanted to highlight that.
That is good information to have. Thank you, Nancy. We really like that. And then do you think, have you heard that there's going to be other stimulus money available, and how soon?
So, you know, we are hopeful. And I, just like everyone else, pay attention to the news. And so we've been hearing Congress signaling that they want to sign another round of either PPP or EIDL, or anyway, there are other types of assistance through this package that they are thinking that they're going to sign. And apparently they're trying to sign that before they go into their Christmas break. So I would encourage everybody to, you know, pay a close attention to the news, because I'm pretty sure we're all going to find out at the same time when that package is signed. So, and be prepared. You know, if we get another round of PPP loan, be prepared to apply. The funds are there. A lot of people missed out on the first round of PPP loans, and then the loan closed and they weren't able to apply. So I encourage everyone to keep an eye and an ear open, and as soon as you hear that Congress approved another round of package, go ahead and apply. For the PPP, you go directly to your bank. For the EIDL, really, you don't have to wait for additional funds, because the EIDL is still open. They closed December 31st of this year. So if you're still interested in the EIDL, and let me make a note, the grant portion of the EIDL is no longer available. So there won't be a portion of an EIDL that is considered a grant unless they add that into the new round of assistance that they're going to sign, right? But if they don't, then there won't be a grant portion in the EIDL. So that's important to know as well.
And you should be able to check on that, right? So you can figure out, can they go to a website and check to where their situation is?
Yeah, so as soon as, again, for purposes of applying for EIDL or PPP when the next round is approved, all they have to do is, if they're going to do the PPP, they go directly to the banker. If they were going to apply for the EIDL, they can go to SBA's website, SBA, and then look for the disaster, and then they can click on there. There's a link that will take you directly to the EIDL loan. So what I was alluding to was the grant portion that was approved in the original rounds of disaster assistance, which is currently not available right now. So if they're going to apply for an EIDL right now, which is still open again till the end of this month, they won't have access to the $10,000 grant portion of the EIDL because that expired.
I see. And we have to wait till they do, till Congress.
Correct. And if they include it is the other thing. You know, will they include another round of up to $10,000 in grant funds? It could be. We just don't know what's right now, what they're planning on doing. They're planning on doing something. We just don't know exactly what it is.
Exactly. And from what we're hearing in the news, it's going to be exciting. So, but we got to wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too long, Herb.
I hope not. Nancy, are there still federal contracts available for minority contractors, small businesses?
There are definitely. So I shared with you earlier that there are 4 federal agencies currently awarding, as of 11 of June of this year, they awarded $17.8 billion in contracts under COVID. So there are special provisions. I want people to pay attention to this because this is really important. If you are not certified, you need to get certified, whether it's as a small business, which is self-certified, so you can do that relatively quickly. This is important because these funds that are being used right now for contracts are related to COVID, right? So PPP, you know, protective gear, sanitation, again, anything related to COVID is being right now acquired through this 4 big major federal agencies. And I apologize for not having the name of those agencies, but 17.8, and it was $17.8 million. You can get a sole source contract because this is considered an emergency. And under an emergency, the government doesn't have to look for the rule of 2. In other words, they don't have to say we need to compete it because that's what the rules say. They can award these contracts on a sole source basis, meaning they need it now, they're going to award it to the person they feel responsible. So again, marketing to these agencies is going to be important, but don't miss out because remember, this was back in June. We still have a big demand. Currently right now we have a spike, so we know we have agencies still acquiring a lot of those products or a lot of those services that are COVID related. And now with the new administration too, I anticipate a greater increase for contracts under the COVID because there's going to be more demand to supply a lot of this stuff that they are acquiring to combat the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow, that is very good news. I didn't know that. That is terrific. So we're going to, like you said, those are things that they should be looking at. If they want to get 8A, 8M certifications, that's still available, right? They can apply?
Correct. SBA has all the certifications. My concern with the 8A and the women-owned small business primarily now is that, remember, you would have to apply and SBA has to approve it. And so there is a lengthy period of time. So I don't want people to hold off on bidding or trying to pursue these contracting opportunities because they're waiting for their certification to be approved. I want them to get certified as a small business because that they can do right away, self-certifying, and pursue those opportunities. And then they can also apply for the Women-Owned Small Business Program or the 8A, or both of them. And once they get that approved, then again, they can continue to use those 2 programs. But they would be missing out if they wait for SBA to approve either of those certifications before they start pursuing these opportunities. Since this sole source is being considered under the emergency, right, regulations, meaning they don't have to compete it, they could just award it on a sole source basis. I prefer that they just use the shortcut, get certified immediately as a small business, and then pursue these opportunities as a small business. They might get a sole source contract out of that. The other thing that I want to highlight is if you're going to do this, remember that you need to be registered in SAM. To register in SAM is www.sam.gov. Once your profile is set, just authorize your profile to transfer over to the SBA. And voila, you're a small business probably within 2 to 3 days. And you can start your pursuit.
I didn't know that. That's great. And to be self-certified as a small business, you can do it there too, or do you have to go to a different website?
No, you would do it through SAM. And again, you would self-certify. You basically indicate, yes, I read the requirement for small business. I meet that requirement, and you select self-certify, and you're pretty much self-certified and ready to do business with the federal government.
Wow, that is terrific news. Nancy, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for that information. And we're hoping that we're going to be doing more videos with you so that people can make good use of with the SBA because it's a wonderful organization. And so anyway, thank you so much for your time. And we'll be doing this hopefully on a regular basis. And again, thank you again. We're very honored to have you on this video. So
It is a pleasure, Herb. Anytime.
Thank you, Nancy. And then just remember where you heard it live right here on America's Chamber for Business.